Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sewing modified, not too much, slightly modified Hackney pouch from Sew Sweetness. This is part of the Minikins season 3 and I did test that. I'm part of their testing team and I did test it and I loved it. It's probably my favorite from the lineup of the Minikins. And once I finished my testing, I tested out to see if a switch would fit in it, and it fits perfectly. So I do owe one of my kids a switch case that I've promised for a few months now. So I said this week is the day is the week when I'll make him a switch case. So I'm making that now. I'm using the Hackney. I'm making slight mods to it that I'm gonna talk about it at the beginning of the video and throughout. Easy stuff, nothing very complicated, and I'm not changing the pattern that's unrecognizable. I will be using the vinyl from Backstitch, the Animal Crossing inspired vinyl from Backstitch. I've already cut, interfaced, added foam to my pattern pieces. It's a pretty simple pattern, and Sarah does include video with the Minikins. With all 3 Minikins, the videos are included in the price. So once you purchase your Minikins package, you have access to all 12 videos and 12 patterns. And as always, my videos are never meant to replace the designer's video. Sarah is it's a professional, and she explains in the video the step by step of the construction, the proper way. You'll see me doing some like taking some shortcuts with this pattern, because again, I want you to spend some time with me, spend an hour of your life chit-chatting with me, and maybe just listening to me in the background while you sew, or who knows, maybe you'll want to make one. But again, it's not meant to replace Sarah or any other pattern designer that I'm making their own video that are done much more professional and much more in detail that I will do. So this brings me to my first modification to the pattern. The pattern comes in 3 sizes, small, medium, large. The large size fits the switch, but I also find it to be taller than I would like it for a switch case. So my first mod to the pattern is that I'm doing the large size, but with the height of the 2 panels around it, the medium height. So I'm choosing the medium height but the same length, and there's 2 pieces that I've modified that for. One is the long panel on the front, and the other one is the back panel. So these are the 2 that I modified to fit the switch better. I basically removed ½ an inch from the height. So if you remove ½ an inch from the height of these 2 panels, you're basically getting the height of the medium size. Simple, super easy. And of course you'll be doing the same mod for the lining pieces. For the lining pieces, I'm using this cotton lycra. I had some scraps left over of cotton lycra from Hissy Fit, from their rainbow round. So again, I did the same mod to the long strip and to the back panel. Just removed ½ an inch from the height, just to make it a little shorter, the case, not as tall. The tall one would work great, but I feel like I preferred it personally a little shorter. I've interfaced these pieces with woven interfacing. This is the new woven interfacing from Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts that I've been testing out, and it's going to come to retail very soon. I posted a video in the Wizardry Facebook group yesterday, and I show you how I used my heat press. I'll also link down below the video that I did for my channel with how to interface fabric and vinyl using your heat press. These are the pattern pieces, no mods. This again is the Peltex that I haven't fused yet. We add that at the end. Okay, and this brings me to my few mods that I'm doing. So I'm going to add a handle to the case. It's not included in the pattern, but it's super easy to do. I've cut a piece of vinyl that is 4 by 8. So this will be my handle on the front of on the top of the case, just because I want to add a handle. Obviously, you don't need to have a handle. It's a want, not a need. The pattern includes a mesh pocket with a zipper in the center, and there's two mesh panels like this with a zipper in the center. Now for my custom switch case, I'm going to do the bottom part only, and I made that a little higher, like an inch higher, but only one. So instead of doing the two, I did only the one and made it a little higher, because on top, and I'll show you when I start sewing what I mean. So this will be the panel, that will have a zipper. There's a white zipper somewhere there. This will have a zipper, and for here I'm going to add a strip of elastic and stitch that every 1 inch, and this will be for game cards. So that's why I needed the top of this panel empty without the mesh. I figured the mesh pocket is good for any extra controllers or stuff, or maybe even the charger for the Switch. And this at the top is where I'll put my game slots. This is knit elastic, that's 3/4 of an inch. You can use 1 inch knit elastic as well. I think 1/2 inch is too narrow, so I would do 3/4 inch knit elastic or 1 inch knit elastic. And this is cut the length of the panel. It's easy. Then I also will be adding 2 straps to the bottom lining panel, like so. And you'll see me sewing it in just a second. This is faux fold over elastic that I'm going to be sewing like so. Just when you put your switch in, it holds better and it's not going to jump in the case, you know, just for extra security of the switch. And my other mod, not so much of a mod, is instead of making my own bias tape for the zipper inside here for the mesh, I'll use store-bought bias tape. But other than that, we are good to get started. So if this is something that you're interested in, seeing how to make a switch case from the Hackney pattern from Sew Sweetness, stick around and we'll get started. We will start by adding the faux to the bottom of the lining. So choose whichever is your lining, if you have any preference, whichever is your bottom lining and whichever is your top lining when you open the case. So for this, I cut 2 strips of faux that are 1/4 inch longer than the height of the panel, just to give an extra space. You could go, instead of the 1/4 inch, just the height of the panel, because this is faux, so it will stretch. Let's go ahead and measure and mark the center of your panel, and you will need these markings later on when you're constructing the case, so definitely helps to have them added right now. And then fold one more time, bring the side here like so, and mark one more time. So you're basically marking the quarters. Take your one of your ends and place the center in that quarter that you marked. So you marked here the quarter, and you're putting the center of your faux right there. And just stitch it in place. I am using my Unicorn Main X80 sewing string from Wizardry. All my hardware and zippers are from Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts, and as always, everything that I will be using is going to be linked in the description below. So center here, and and you'll do the same thing on the other side. Again, an optional step, but I find that I prefer it to have my kids' switch just sitting tightly in there. How cute is this? Coming soon from Wizardry. Those rainbow snips are so cute. Where is my quarter marking? Okay, here it is. Okay, your bottom piece is done. Nothing, we're gonna add nothing else to it. Okay, now let's work on the mesh pocket. So take your one piece of mesh. Again, this is 1 inch taller than the pattern requests. If you're okay with a smaller pocket, you don't have to have it bigger. You can just make it smaller. Or if you feel like you need more game card slots than the 1 row of elastic, make this one smaller and add 2 rows of elastic. So I'm basically just putting my binding in the bias tape, simply sliding it in and closing it down and just stitching at the edge. This is my cheat sheet method. Sarah does tell you and show you how to add a different way of making your own binding if you don't have store-bought, and add it to the panels. Okay, so now you want to take your zipper and just add your zipper to, oh sorry, I forgot that I do need to, the zipper is a little too long. I need to add the endings of the zipper. So again, I'm just using a cheat sheet method, and I'm just ending the zipper instead of creating my own piece with just binding, like so. Oops, I need to stitch on the back again. You know what inspired me to actually make this case? Although I did promise my kids, so I knew eventually I would have to make it, but I got my pre-order for backstitch prints, from backstitch prints with the vinyl, and I ordered them because it was available in the pre-order. I ordered some, they told me what they're called, some bells, bell sacks, bell pouches. I don't know, I don't play Animal Crossing. I'm sure all you Animal Crossing fans there look at me like I'm crazy right now, that I don't know what I'm talking about. The bell pouches. So I saw that and I said, okay, this is a sign that I really need to get working on that case. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing on the other side. I'm just sliding the zipper in the bias tape all the way in, closing it and stitching it on top, and this will also create a zipper stop. Very cute. There you go. So this is how it looks like. How cute is this rainbow zipper pull? There's some rainbow on the print, so I figured this would work nicely. All right, so take your zipper tape, and I'm going to use the Wizardry Stitchery and Craft double-sided, permanent double-sided tape, and I'm using the 1/8 of an inch. I got it now. So this is perfect for this step. You want to place your double-sided tape on the edge of your zipper tape, and because it's an 1/8 of an inch, so very narrow, it's not going to be visible at all. So I'm going to place that on both sides. I don't know how well you can see it white on white, but you can see it on the red. So it's like this all over all the way down. And I'm gonna do the same thing on top. I love this double-sided tape, way better than Wonder Tape. Even if it's not water soluble, it's so much stickier and it doesn't gum up your needle. It's awesome. I always found Wonder Tape to be way too expensive anyway. Alright, so the zipper tape is added. Let's grab, if you have a preference on how your zipper will open, decide now. So I would like mine to open this way, which means this is the bottom. So I'm going to open up the zipper, the double-sided tape, and place my mesh right on top. So like so, and then I take my mesh and place it right on top, centered. So obviously you can mark the centers and whatnot, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. So I'm going to center it right here. And then press it down. If you're doing both pockets, Sarah shows you how to do the same thing on the top. But since I'm doing just only one of the pockets, I'm just placing that on top. So see, from the back, you can see it here. Okay, perfect. Press it down and stitch it all the way, like so. With an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Move your zipper pull away if you need to. Beautiful. Okay, so this is how it looks like right now. Now we're going to grab the leftover bias tape, and I'm just going to place that on top and stitch it down. Like so, with nothing inside. Right now I don't want the top pocket, so I'm not putting anything inside that bias tape. It's just a strip of bias tape, and then I'm going to adjust the length afterwards. Oh, and this mesh, I think I got it from Joanne a long time ago. Nothing fancy. I saw, where did I see somebody was doing custom mesh? I saw somewhere, like very pretty mesh. I don't have any, or I would have used it. Okay, I'm gonna adjust the length to match the bottom. So now you want to take your pocket and place the top of the lining, and place your pocket where you would like it. I think, looking at it right now, I might not even have needed to make the mesh pocket bigger. I'm thinking maybe just a little bit, maybe a quarter of an inch bigger, but not too much, because then I won't have room for my slots. So I think I'm just gonna remove the excess down there. I'm basically eyeballing where I'm putting it, just so it looks pretty and I have enough room to put the elastic for the card slots. And now I'm just stitching it down all around, starting from the bias tape at the top there. Nope. Hold. And I will remove the excess. So I don't think there was really a need to change the pattern, because I'm going to remove 1 inch. So basically the mesh can stay as in the pattern. Not perfect, but none of my projects are, and you know that. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I don't strive for perfection. I'm not a professional bag maker. I just want to make myself and my kids cute stuff that are appreciated, loved, and not perfect. And I'm just here to show you that we all can do it. Okay. So I'm removing the excess mesh and curving the bottom. There you go. So only 1 pocket instead of 2, and it looks really good. So now for the game cards, take your elastic. Again, if you feel you don't need the pocket at all, you can just skip it all together and maybe put 2-3 rows of elastic if your child has, or yourself, no judgment, have a lot of game cards. But for now I just have spot for only 1. So I'm going to stitch, for now, just the sides. It's about a quarter of an inch above the binding, the red binding. So that's where I placed it. A quarter of an inch up on both sides. And now using a marker that I should have close by, but I don't. And a ruler. Mark 1-inch slots. So there's about 11 inches, so I'm going to just mark 1-inch slots, which will be enough for the game. The game cards. Okay, so this is how it looks like with the markings on. And just go ahead and stitch your markings. Oh, and you do want to stitch the bottom as well. So I'm just gonna go like little bits. I'm trying to be quick, but I'm not gonna be quick probably, so I might as well just do it right if I'm not gonna be quick. So I like to have the bottom of the elastic stitched down so the game part doesn't slide off. So I'm gonna go ahead and stitch as close as I can get it to the edge of the elastic. So it closes the bottom of the elastic. This way the game cards don't fall out. Okay, and you can see it better because it's the rainbow thread on white. See? The bottom. And now let's keep going with the card slots. I have one kid who likes the game cards and one kid who prefers to buy his Nintendo Switch games online. So, and the case is apparently for the kid who buys his game online. So we'll see how much he needs this card slot. But I wanted to show you how to do it in case you need it for your own little gamer. And up next after this I will, okay, let me go ahead and finish this and I will come back, clean up all the threads because you don't want to see me doing this and cleaning up, and I will come back to work on that extra handle. The game card slots are finished. I went ahead and stitched them all down. So now this is where you'll be placing your cards. So you have 11 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, you have 11 game card slots to use. So you should be good to go. You might have less depending on how well I do the seam allowance here. So it depends on how well you are precise with your 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. You might have less with minus the 2 on the sides, but it doesn't really matter. Again, if you need more, you can skip the pocket and just add 2 more rows or 3 more rows of elastic and do more card slots. Alright, let's move on to the last mod that I'm doing to the pattern. So that cute handle that I'm making, I'm going to mark the center. Again, this is 8 by 4. So I'm marking the center. And using the 1/2 inch double-sided tape, which is probably my favorite. It's definitely a must-have for making straps, it holds this so well. And I'm placing 2 of them right here. And I'm going to fold both edges towards the center and then fold again, just like you would do a normal strap. And this is the coordinate vinyl that was offered with the animal spy round at Backstitch. There should be some retail of it very soon. I'll show you the little what you call it, zipper. Not necessarily zipper. The little charms that you can put on jackets, on zippers, anywhere you want. So I'm just folding this again, and then I will top stitch it. Let's top stitch. Take whichever piece you want to use for the top and find its center. I'm going to mark it, because again I'll use that later when I put the bag together. And the center of the side, so you're basically quartering the bag. You can also use your pattern piece for this step, because the markings are done on the pattern piece. Okay, so now let's see, where is my center? 6, okay. So now I'm trying my best to just center this handle right here. If you mind the raw edge, you can edge coat it, or fold it down if your machine can handle all the layers. Or if you're using woven, you can definitely fold it down. I really don't care that much about that. If I want to paint it afterwards, I will. So right now I'm just doing the handle like so, and I'm gonna go with the 3 inch away from the edge mark. So 3 inches away from each edge is where you want to place your handle. Like so. And centered. If I should have added some double-sided tape, but I'm not going to recenter it now, so it is what it is. I'm just sewing the sides, just to hold it in place, and then I'll show you how I rivet it. Oh, 275. It moved a little in transit, but it's okay. I'm eyeballing it anyways. I did give you the measurement if you want to be more precise than I am. So about 3 inches from each side. Is where you want to put the handle. So now you're gonna go around 3/4 of an inch to an inch inside. And I think I'll do a whole inch just to be sure. And look, I'm even gonna mark it so I can be precise. 1 inch inside each handle, and then stitch again. This will take the weight off, the pressure of the weight off. Because if you leave just the outside stitches, as soon as you put some weight in the case and you pull it up, it can rip off, depending on how heavy is the stuff you put in the case. Okay, so this is what it looks like from the back. See the 1 inch stitch, and I'll do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll add a rivet because I like the look and the extra strength. Perfect for little hands and big hands. So now I'll put a hole in the center and add a rivet. And this again, it's the last modification that I made to the pattern. From this point on, you'll be stitching the case exactly as instructed in the tutorial and by Sarah. So if you want to watch her video, once you've done this riveting, you can definitely switch over to her YouTube channel. And actually no, the videos that are purchased are not on YouTube, are in your account, in your Sew Sweetness account. These are some matte rivets I got from Amazon, some black matte rivets that I figured would work good here. Two. Alrighty. My chair is really squeaking. And again, if you were bothered by the inside here, you could have definitely edge coated, or just leave it like that. And this is the top with the handle. So let's get started putting the back together. First off, we start with the panel. And the zipper with the two pulls. So I have again rainbow zipper. I have a video that I show you how to do a double pull with the zipper tape, and I talk about various zippers for bag. I'm going to link that again in the description. I'm not going to go in detail with the construction because again Sarah does have her own video, so you can definitely follow that. But I do want to finish this bag on video so I can show you how cute it is. Any excess zipper will be removed afterwards. Not a big deal if you have any extra on the sides. Okay, so now take your lining, and again I'm using a directional print, so I want to make sure that the lining goes the correct way. And I'm going to stitch right on top of the previous stitch line. Like so. Come on. Oh, there you go. Okie dokie. Now I want to press this down. And I'm going to top stitch an eighth of an inch away from the fold. While the backstitch vinyl is thick enough to be used on its own, I wouldn't skip the foam for this pattern, because if you want to make it a switch case, because you want that little cushion to protect your device. Again, this is a little narrower than the pattern calls for on the large size, just because I prefer it that way for a switch. Only half an inch narrower, not much. Okay, let me remove the excess zipper. There. So now you'll take your tab, right sides together, and you'll just sew where the zipper is, not where the two pieces are. So now you want to remove the lining and stitch only through the right sides together of the main, not the lining. With a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so you've stitched just through the main part and the zipper. Now you're going to take your lining and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to stitch just through the zipper part. And then just the linings together without stitching through the main. I'm just pulling that away. That little back panel has not only foam, but it also has the covil heavy, so you have to maneuver it a little bit to pull it away, but it can be done. Again, do the best you can. So this is how it looks like. These are separate and these are separate here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing now, but on the other side. So right sides together, just the main, and you're going to stitch down only where the zipper is. Okay, and now only the main fabric right sides together. So move the lining away. Construction wise, it's very similar to most zipper pouches that have this closure. It's nothing too complicated. If you've done one, you probably will have no issue doing this one. Okay, so now we're going to bring the lining like so, and again I'm putting the lining with the lining right sides together and just stitching through the zipper part first. And then stop. And then stitch just through the lining, like so. It's going to be looking very weird, but as long as you stitch just through the lining, it doesn't really matter how it looks like out there. It will fall in place, you'll see. So now you should have quite a loop, just a loop. If you turn this right side out, you have a loop with a zipper, and your lining and your main are not stitched together. So right now I'm just going to stitch together and top stitch only the zipper portion here. I'm going to do like a little U. So up on one side of the zipper, then I'm basically basting the lining and the main together on this side, on the top side. Okay, and then down, just the zipper part. And I'll show you a close-up so you see what I mean. So see, I went up, straight, down, just this little U. Okay, up next you'll need to quarter both the top and the bottom of all sides. So put a marking where your quarter is, however you want to mark it, with a pin, with a snip, with whatever is easier for you to see. Your quarter marking on both the main and the lining and the zipper. Okay, just want to make sure the lining is snipped too. And then take your pattern pieces that are left. You should have 2 for the top and 2 for the bottom. I see 1, 2, and where is my last one? Oh, there it is. Okay, so you should have 4 pieces right now. Let's start with the top. It's easy because I have the handle. You want the back, so it will be like so. You want the back right sides together, matching the quarter markings. So this is when we start to use a lot of quips. So you want to match the quarters first. Did I do the quarters of the zipper? Probably not. Yeah, I didn't, so I'll do that now. And the other quarter. This will ensure an even distribution of the zipper. And at one point you might find it easier to just remove, just open the zipper up. And pay attention to your fabric if you've used the directional print like I am right now. Make sure that when you place it down, it goes in the correct direction as you want it. So as you can see, I've quartered it and put the zipper, and now I'm going to put a few pins and have my zipper go all around and stitch it in place. And you're basically repeating this 4 times and leaving some 2 openings to turn. But it's pretty much the same thing 4 times for each of the pieces that you have there. Key is to go slow at the curve. And if you need to snip the zipper a little bit to make it fit better, like less than 1/4 of an inch, do that. No, not a problem. I start at the flat edge because it's easiest. And I'm sewing with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So you might need a turning tool or something to help you keep the zipper edge aligned to the raw edge as best as you can. I prefer to use my fingers, but it may not be the safest way, so keep that in mind. And maybe don't do what I do. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm sure my kids would love it no matter what. And he's been waiting long enough for it, which will work in my advantage. And we're back to the beginning. I'm gonna go ahead and stitch the lining piece right sides together. So this is the top part, right? So you want this piece right here. And I will stitch it right sides together like so. Again, as best as I can. And I will be back to turn it with you. So now we're going to turn the top part through the opening that we left. Super easy. Luckily, the backstitch vinyl does not crease, so it will not be horrible after I turn it. And of course, if you're using woven, you'll definitely be giving it a good press afterwards. First, you're going to turn the panel part, and then you're going to push out the rest of it. And then you'll say you went to the gym this morning. Probably should have left a bigger opening. Oh, I can pull from the handle. Yes, friends, leave bigger openings. I'm very close to snipping a few stitches just to increase the opening. Yeah, it's no point in torturing myself. Let me just snip it a few. Easier. What a different quarter of an inch extra makes. And there you go, much better. So now push your elastic and your zipper tape. Just pull by the teeth and don't top stitch just yet. We're going to do that at the end. After we put the decabil heavy inside. Okay, so this will go folded inside here, but not quite yet. We need to put the decabil heavy inside and then we'll fold this inside. Okay, so the top is done. This is where the card slots will go and your zipper. So now we're going to do the same thing for the bottom. First, again, if you're using a directional print, choose which way you want the bottom and the top to look. And we're going to start with the bottom part. Right sides together, matching at the quarter points. Exactly like we did at the top. So I'm probably going to speed again through the video because I'm repeating everything and I don't want this to be super long. So I've pinned the lining to the lining, just like I did the main to the main here. And I'm going to sew and leave the back opened, just like we did before. And this time I'm going to sew with a little over 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, just so that the lining sits tighter on the bottom. Not a 1/2 inch, but maybe a 3/8 of an inch, a little more than 1/4 of an inch. The wizardry woven interfacing performed beautifully. Nothing is getting unstuck. It looks great so far. And I've maneuvered it quite a lot. Okay, so I left an opening here. Probably too small, but for now let's just go ahead and trim the seam allowance a little bit. So it reduces some of the bulk inside. All we have to do now is turn and close at the interfacing and close the openings, the 2 openings, and you're done. You can enjoy the new switch case. Let's see if I can turn everything through this little hole. If not, I'll make it a little bigger. I'll pull the top. Oh, actually no. Sarah has a great tip, not yet. To make the lining sit taut, I'm going to tack it in a few places right here on the inside. I love that tip. This was from her video, so I'm going to bring this together and tack within the seam allowance the lining and the main together. This way it doesn't float in the bag. It sits tighter. And I kept saying I need to remember this tip because it's really nice. Okay, so this, and I'm going to try to do the same thing on the sides a little bit. Not on the curved, just on the straight side. I'm so glad I remembered. Okay, see? And then on this side, same thing. I'm pushing it and bringing the lining and the main and stitching here within the seam allowance. A couple of inches, not too much. An optional step, but it will help your bag stay nice. Okay, so now let's birth it. And now it's gonna be harder to birth probably because there's less layers. Or not. It's not. It's actually easier because it's pulling two layers at the same time. There you go. Awesome. How amazing is this vinyl? You see what I'm putting it through, right? Not a single crease. It's so pliable. Oh, it's ready. Okay, so push the lining inside, like so, and then close your opening with your preferred clothing method. But before we do that, I want to add some Decovil Heavy inside, just for extra strength. Very cool. Very, very cool. So the two pieces of Decovil Heavy are in the pattern piece, so I'm going to place this with the glue, with the sticky side towards the foam. And then using a pressing cloth and my iron, because it cannot go in the heat press, I'm going to press it down so it sticks there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Take my Decovil and with this shiny, which is the glue part, slide it right in here towards the foam. And make sure it lays flat and it doesn't crease. And then, like before, using a pressing cloth, you'll just press it down so it sticks to the foam. If it's too big, you see that it's a little too big, take it out and just remove any excess. This one might need a little bit of a trimming, but that's not hard to do. You'll feel it with your hands if it needs to be a little smaller. Okay, I'm going to give that a press, and let's close these openings here. So pull your lining out and fold the raw edges inside, and you can slip stitch with your hands or you can stitch with your machine, which is what I'm going to do. I'm not stitching by hand anything ever. I am not a hero. I'm trying to figure out which way is a little easier. About 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, as best as you can. You could use some double-sided tape to hold it in place as well. Let me see, because I feel like it's slipped. Yep, it's slipped. Let me just do a little double-sided tape since I have it anyway. I'll try the 1/8 of an inch first. And I'm putting it on the raw edge. Okay. Let's see. If this helping hand is helping. So I'm just pressing this part with the sticky tape down. And yes, it's definitely helping. See how nicely it sticks? Now I don't have to worry about any pins. Perfect, much easier now. So use what you have in your stash, including double-sided tape. It's not just for zippers. Okay, push that down. And the bottom is done, and then I'll do the same thing for the top. I'll close this, I'll give it a good press, and I'll come back to show you the finished result. It is finished! Woohoo! So I top stitched the last step, top stitch all around, which also enclosed the opening right here, and it's all done. So this is the game slot card. It fits very nicely. Then I have the charger in here in the pocket, and then here is the switch. So right now I was thinking maybe an extra one time, just to do using the two pattern pieces for the front, to do an extra thing to put on top to protect it even more, like 2 layers with a foam in between, and just to put it easy to take it in and out, not something you'd stitch, just to have extra protection for the switch. Another thing that you could do if you want to. Obviously you don't have to. And this is how it closes, and again this is 1/2 inch narrower than the large Hackney. So the large Hackney would have been 1/2 inch taller. So I think this would be great, and I'm thinking you could go even less than that, maybe 3/4 of an inch narrower, because there's plenty of space here for the switch and the extra stuff you might want to put in there. Oh, and I wanted to show you before I forget. Where are they? There. The reason why I did this today, look at these super cute charms that came from Backstitch. The pre-order has shipped, but there should be some retail, so if you want to snag a couple of these charms or vinyl like mine, make sure that you join the Backstitch group, because the retail will be announced in there. So cute. So this works for hoodies, for anywhere you want to add a little charm. So in this case, I'm going to put it right here next to my rainbow. Cute. How awesome. I can put two here, I can put one here and one inside. Well, I'm sure my kid will figure it out. We'll move them wherever he wants. So these are the charms. How adorable. Oh my god. And again, you can get the rainbows from Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts. How pretty. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this little hack for the Hackney pouch, part of the Minikins 3 by Sew Sweetness. If you have not liked or subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now. This way, and turn on the bell for the notifications every time I upload a new video. And I will see you back here in my next one. Bye!